Last week we did a stay exercise in class, and so I wanted to just go back over it and clarify some stuff or just remind you of some stuff that we did on our stay and to help continue to build up stronger and stronger stays for your own dogs. Travel planks, cater boards, pivot pods, balance pods. There's a whole bunch of different stuff that we can use to put our dog's feet on. The reason why we want to utilize a cater board, a pivot pod, anything that we can put our dog's feet on is because in the dog world, stay doesn't make sense to them. So when we're asking our dogs to stay, we're asking them essentially to do nothing. And that's really hard for dogs. And so it's nice to give their toes something to do. So the cater board and the pivot pods give our dogs something for their toes to do. And what the dish does, so the dish has high value usually because it's associated with most dogs feeding, but it's also gives them something to focus on. What is the point of showing the cookie going into the bowl? We want the dogs to know exactly where they're going and what is in store for them in the reward. We want the bowl to be predictable. And by showing them, we are offering them focus and a reason to try these difficult distances with obstacles. So we're giving their toes something to do and we're giving their eyes something to focus on. And then on top of that, if you want a strong stay, you need to focus your own mechanics on a clean verbal only release word. Let me repeat that. A good stay is dependent on a clean verbal only, no added motion release word, so that our dogs learn to listen to us and not focus on us. We want them focusing forward on the jump, on the dish, on the tunnel, not on us. And so in this training, we're teaching them how to listen for our verbal and not focus on our hand position, focus on our movement. So in this exercise, we didn't do this specific exercise in class, but I'm showing you different variations that you can do with the cater board and dish exercise. So I've gone from 1 bowl to 2 bowls to 3 bowls to 4 to 6 bowls and start building up shorter, close by duration and distraction versus longer distance. So in class, we worked on distance. Here I'm working on duration and distraction and having him hold position while I go all the way around him. An advancement of this exercise is to have it just on a single piece of cookie. So no big dish, just a single piece of reward. And so I went with one single one. You want the reward to be opposite color of the dirt because dogs don't track well and they will lose sight of where the cookies are. And now I want you to watch his behavior. There was a lip lick. So here are all the stress signals. Heavy breathing, that could also be exercise. Lip licking. Watch his ears. His ears will flick on some of these. So I'm going to keep pointing out. There he gets a little distracted, environmental distraction, looking around. I haven't even come in yet. He went and stationed himself. So lip lick, ear flick. There he started to close his mouth. So he doesn't close his mouth too much, but some dogs will close their mouth. There he looked around again. So he's stationing himself. I'm coming in to show you guys what I'm doing. I could do that lip lick. You can do that from afar, more lip licking. That's all stress. Here comes a yawn. Yawn. There's a nice big yawn. That is a stress signal that this is not easy for him. Now, he's been doing this for a long time. Here's one of my students. Just want you to, and now this dog has a very nice stay, but she's giving off drooling signals. So there's excitement. There's the drool. Closing the mouth. That's her paying attention to what mom's doing. Lip lick. and then release. So just pay attention, video your dog's behavior when you're doing this. So here's what we did in class. The very first one is nice and close, 6 to 8 feet off. You can have them in a sit, you can have them in a stand, you can have them in a down. You can even have them off the CATA board and on the ground if they are solid. So I'm going from 6 feet to 55 feet. I have not told him stay or wait once. The only thing he is hearing is the release word. Here it is on a pivot pod. So this is just an upside down feed bowl from the garden store, from the livestock. It's a horse feeding bowl going approximately 85 feet. And this is the reverse of go cue. So this is a recall. So I'm just using my okay word to release him. And his job is to take all the obstacles in between. And if he struggled with that, and you're going to watch him struggle on the weave poles, on one of my weave poles, I'm going to show you how I help them grab the obstacles if they're not grabbing them automatically. And so we just we either bring the dog in closer to the obstacle or we bring the handler in closer to the obstacle. Now on that particular one just then, he started on a pivot pod and he readjusted himself off the pivot pod. I have no problem with dogs readjusting their feet as long as they don't come forward. So there is a big difference between readjustment, there's readjustment, and creeping. Creeping is one thing, readjustment is another. There's readjustment. I think dogs have a good understanding of how and where they need to be to take a jump. And so I do not mess around with readjustment. I will mess around with creeping. All right, so now I've angled the jump to make it more difficult. So as the dog gets more skilled, the obstacles become more difficult. We're going back to 55 feet with just one slice jump. And I'm working slice jumps because he's been struggling with those. We've been having some dropped bars on our slice jumps. So we're about 85 feet. Maybe 90 feet there. So he went around the first one. So watch what I do to help adjust him. He's going to go around this one as well. There's a shake off. So that's some stress right there, shaking off. I think it was also raining pretty hard that day. So I went off the opposite side of the jump to see if that helped him get this first one. It did not. So now watch what I do. I turned the jump. So I made the jump more accessible to him. And I still went off the side that I thought would help him. I could also bring him in closer to that jump. But the first thing I did is I readjusted it and it worked. And I am asking him to take the back side. So I am giving cues here. So push, push. Yeah, and he's dropping bars. So that's been his issue right there. Gave the earlier cue and he nailed it. All right, so this direction, doing the weave poles, he nailed it. So I'll show you when we turn this around, then you'll see how I fixed to help him. So he's about 60 feet. I'm about 60 feet away from him, grabbing that first pole. So I stay in the first pole, I let him load up, then I drop the bowl down. So the easier exercise for this is for you to keep the bowl in your opposite hand. So I show him the cookie, going 60 feet. So now I'm at pole 4, pole 5. You can point back to the weave poles to give them information if they're not skilled in their weave entry. And I jackpot more. So he will always get the one cookie that's in the bowl. But if he does all the obstacles in between, he will get more cookies put into the bowl. Added in a little faster movement to make it more difficult. And now I'm beyond pole 6.
Okay.
And he nails it. All right, now I'm going to do a harder one where the bull is actually on the ground, which can be much harder for dogs. So before you do this at 65 feet or 85 feet, do it just on a jump. Do it just on 6 weed pulls with you close by. See if they can understand that. Good. When a bull is put on the ground on weed pulls, a lot of dogs will pull out on pull either 4 or pull 10, depending on how many pulls you have. All right, so this is where I'm going to go 85 feet, and he's going to bypass the weed pulls and grab the jumps only. So this is where I'm showing you what to do if your dog struggles. So we're at 85 feet. He bypasses the weed pulls and takes the jumps only. So he gets the one cookie that's in the bowl, but now I'm going to adjust. So now I'm going to be right off the end of the weed pulls. So just the bulls before the jump. He gets that. So now I back up. So if he had failed again, I would back up. I would essentially half everything that I've done. So I would start right there where I am. But he's doing well, so I'm going to progress on to the weed pulls and the jump. And then I'll progress on to all 3 obstacles again. And then I just showed you one with the dog walk. And there's different ways. If you have stop dog walks, I do it differently, but I have a running dog walk. So go back to that one where there was a platform. I don't give a stay cue for this. So I start it very, very close, and I don't progress further until my dog can get it at 6 to 8 feet. Work your distance, duration, and distractions. Those are the 3 Ds. Work them separately. Start first with distraction, so close up distraction, then build in duration, then build in duration and distraction, then build in distance, then build in distance and distraction, and duration comes along for the ride with distance. But in practice, train for harder and longer than you would for in a trial. When working stays using either a dish or a food reward thrown in front of the dog, there are a couple of things that you'll want to know. Number one, if your dog breaks, if your dog gets up from their stay, either on the ground or while they're on a cater board or something that their feet are on, if they break, the very first thing you want to do is pick up the dish or whatever food reward you just put on the floor, and pick it up with your hands. Don't cover it with your foot. We don't want to hide it. We just want to remove it from the dog's access. So we want to save the bowl, save the food for when they're correct. So number one job, save whatever bowl or food you have put on the floor, pick the whole thing up. Don't hide it from them. It's not a searching game. Don't hide it from them. We want them to know what they just lost out on. The second thing that you want to do after picking up your bowl or after picking up your food is hold still. Let the dog come to a halt as well. Then reset the dog. This is for dogs that are just learning, or you want to make an impact on what you're trying to achieve, which is stillness. And when dogs are breaking their stays, they're putting in motion, right? They're moving forward. They're moving out of the stay. And for dogs, movement is very, very reinforcing. And so them moving towards you is not only self-reinforcing, but also you both moving back to the reset position is also reinforcing for most dogs, especially herding dogs. If your dog continues to break their stay, then go to where it works. So start 6 feet. If they can't do 6 feet, drop it down to 5. They can't do 5, drop it down to 4. You don't want to be too close to the dog either, though. If you get your bowl too close to the dog, then they have a harder time. There's this magic distance, and it's completely dependent on your dog, but there's a magic distance of right around 18 to 24 inches, sometimes 2.5 feet. Start there, then build further away. Don't come into the dog. Don't be right on top of the dog's nose unless they're super, super skilled. But my area, if my dog can stretch for the cookie, they're allowed to have it. So I want it far enough out that they're not going to stretch, but also not so far that they're going to break because they don't understand what I'm asking them. So if your dog breaks, number 1, save whatever food you just put on the ground. Let them come to a complete halt. You want to see them notice that you're not moving. And then 3, work at the desired distance that is working for them. And over time, over sessions, over weeks, build up more and more distance. A dog that is worried, a dog that is concerned about the environment around them, sometimes more eye contact helps them. It gives them comfort to know that you're paying attention. If they're consistently getting up when you turn your head away from them and remove that eye contact, then stay watching them a little bit more and build in looking away, build in being able to walk with your back to them. I want you to think about all the stress that happens behind your dog at a trial, the ring crew, the score table, the noise, other dogs. So knowing their stress level in practice can help you understand their stress level at a trial. And so when you're practicing, you want to work on having different distractions behind your dog, but also know the level of worry that your dog can handle. Because some dogs, when you leave them on a stay, I think they feel like you're abandoning them, and they are left to deal with all of this worry that they've got by themselves. And so when you're practicing, you want to make the stress within their ability. And so you need to know what their stress level is without distractions, and then know what their stress level is with distractions. If your dog is looking around them at the people around them in practice, know dang well that they're going to be looking around at a trial, which can cause other issues to happen. So we want to train for that. We want to know it, and then we want to train for it.